How are you?
Oh. Can you hear me?
I can.
There we go. I had my computer volume on mute. Technology's hard.
You should ask Kelly to be one of your people. I was thinking that.
Yeah, I already did.
Okay.
You told her to ask me. I have a meeting at the top of the hour. Janine, don't be offended when I disappear.
No worries. I disappear usually every day at the top because I go to take a little Zoom exercise class. So, Judy, you'll be disappearing?
Yes, at 9. Got to meet Charlotte.
So I won't be there for today, but that's okay.
She's kicking my butt.
I know, which is awesome.
It is.
It doesn't seem like it would, and yet every morning I wake up a little bit sore, and that's a beautiful thing.
It is.
So
Keep meaning to go on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, but something always is going on at 6 my time.
yeah.
One of these days. All right.
Did any of you listen to Sarah Thomas yesterday?
No. Yet.
She was wonderful. She was
Awesome.
great.
Is it recorded, I assumed?
I assume. It was interesting. It was through the Galilee Marathon swimming. So
Check them out.
yeah, check that out. Guy Cohen. If
It's
you look
also
at him.
a swim I'm looking at.
Oh,
Maybe some year. I don't know. It seems sort of cool. It's one of the few international ones where I'm like, ooh, that sounds fun.
yeah.
Today. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Molly, are you rocking?
Yes, I am. Lazy boy. I'm envious that on every recording I see, John is sitting outside on his patio and I'm stuck in my office.
Is it not raining there, John?
It is my It is my office anymore.
That corgi.
I don't know. I'm just feeling very housebound. So whenever I can work outside, I do.
I took my lunch meeting outside yesterday, and the number of comments I got from my coworkers that were like, "You're the one doing this right." But my Wi-Fi doesn't work outside, so I had to do it on my phone. So I was just like, it's the one beautiful day we've had in the last.
I know, and not in the next 2 days are going to be miserable.
Get out, Ted, when you can.
It's crazy here today. We have it's all gray and the ocean's angry and it's been raining for 12 hours. And it's coming up the coast, I'm sure. I usually get it 2 days before you guys get it.
Well,
Thanks, Janine.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
So Janine is here. It's pouring in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Pouring.
Right. I'm in South Carolina, so yeah.
I really enjoy Mark's corgi just chowing down on that toy.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that as well.
That's
Just
adorable.
watch that all day.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, everybody. Today, for our topic, for our breakout rooms for Meet Your Lane Mates, I was going to do food. So, take that where you like it. We're going to go for 4 people per room, so I guess we'll have 4 rooms. And we'll see Ponytail to talk to Janine.
Shannon, what did you say? Because it cut out.
Oh, favorite comfort food.
That's gonna. We only have 5 minutes.
You could just summarize it as all of them, right?
And gin.
Yeah. What's nearest at hand?
Have you seen those Costco supplies of M&Ms? Once my husband came home with one of those the other night. I was like simultaneously very dismayed and very happy.
All right, I'll see you in 5 minutes.
Oops.
Okay. Is this the swimmer group?
It is. Yeah, we're currently doing the Meet Your Lane Mates part.
Oh, am I too late to get going, or am I interrupting? I don't want to be a bother.
No, you can talk to me.
Hi.
I can't see
What?
you, Bridget.
I feel like I'm missing something. What am I, like, at the right time or wrong time, or?
We do. So there's someone else who's coming in here. Hi, Susie. Good morning. She's connecting to audio. We just do 5 minutes of breaking out into little groups so people can talk to each other, and then we're going to meet Janine in about 2 minutes now. So,
Cool beans.
yeah, Susie's audio is still connecting. Good morning, Susie. Where are you, Bridget?
I am in New York State, way upstate. I'm north of Albany.
I used to live in Watertown for about a year, maybe.
Oh, way west. Yeah, that was way west. Yeah. You were closer to where I went to college the first time, Potsdam. So.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah, we were there just for a little while.
And what was your name? I'm sorry. Are you Shannon?
Yeah, I'm Shannon.
Hi, good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you as well.
I was able to see the recording of the one with Susie last week. That was really cool.
Yeah, I love this. I love hearing
This is really cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What's your story? We have 1 more minute before we get back to the big group, but tell me.
I do marathon swimming when I have the opportunity. I swim Lake George primarily. That's my home base.
Awesome.
So I'll be hopefully in there if the rain stops later. And just really enjoying getting to meet other people in the community.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I've got this set up right. I look like I'm a black box.
I can't see. Your video's not on. It should be, if you kind of click on your screen, you should see the bottom left maybe is a video.
Start video? Is that it? Oh, goody. Yeah. No, I haven't done any. I just woke up, so I'm like.
Me too.
Yeah, this whole time issue is just too bizarre for words. I'm.
Oh, I lost you. What was that? You said the time issues. Oh no. Did you mute yourself? Nope. Your microphone maybe is covered. I can't hear you, Bridget.
Uh-oh.
Hi, I can hear you.
Hi. This is so cool. I found out about this through Janine.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Name for me?
Sorry?
Pronounce your name for me?
Gia.
Yep. Just like it looks. Where are you located, Gia?
I'm in Massachusetts right now, but I've been living in New York City for the past 10 years.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I was telling Bridget, I don't know what happened to her audio, but she Can you hear me? Can you hear?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
We hear you now.
There's about 16 other people here too. They're just in little breakout rooms right now. So we do this like Meet Your Lane Mates. And so we're going to bring everyone back right now. Send them a message.
How long have you been doing this?
I will carry this downstairs. Maybe I'll have better Wi-Fi.
Okay. And then we'll meet Janine, and we usually just do kind of the same round of questions. And
right.
You do know marathon swimmers better. What's your favorite distance, Gia?
Hi.
Susie's audio is still connecting. I wonder if she can hear it. All right. Our topic for the breakout was your favorite.
Hello.
Hi,
I
Diane.
think I left the breakout room too soon. I felt like I interrupted. I think I cut someone off by mistake.
It happens. It's okay. They'll all be kicked out here and cut off in 30 seconds.
Hi, Mark. Cool sweater, Mark. Wow, look at that quality.
Hi. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Mark.
It's cold here today.
Where are you, Mark?
Hey. Okay. I'm working, so I'm late.
Been a while since I saw you. Back in
I
San
know.
Francisco.
Was that 2 years ago or was that 3 years ago? They all kind of.
Years ago, Phil, 2018. That was a fun weekend.
It's fun when it's done.
Mark, I like your sweater.
Thank you.
It looks very cozy.
Yes. It's a nice
But you know, I'm so happy we had San Francisco before this year, before everything shut down. There was just small things I go back to that, gee, we did have a little fun.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about
Canyon Day.
All right,
And
Janine,
Diane the Bender.
you guys ready to get to know Janine better?
Sure.
Some of you already do.
Start with just telling us a little bit about yourself, Janine.
I guess I'll start with how, so I'm retired. I live down in South Carolina. I quit my job so I could swim more. I live on the beach right now, 8 months of the year, and the other 4 months I sort of stay and swim and travel a bit during the summer.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't really plan this life, but it kind of has unraveled pretty nicely.
Wonderful. Tell us how you started swimming.
I have an unusual story there. I am not an age grouper. If anybody's ever seen me swim, it's not really very pretty. But I had gone to a spa with a friend of mine, and I was talking to one of the counselors, and she said, I was like, I'm pretty uninspired. Like, I go to the gym, but I kind of go through the motions. And she asked me, she said, what did you like to do as a kid? And I said, you couldn't drag me out of water. Like, I would be sunburned from like my shoulders up, and the rest of me would be pure white because I was always in the water. And that was 2009. And in 2000, I think, I had signed up to swim a 1 mile in the Hudson River, and then found out that I had to qualify for it. They weren't just gonna let me jump in, and I didn't go. And so at that moment, I said, all right, we figured out a plan. I'm like, how I'm gonna train up. I lived in Manhattan at the time, and I had a pool in my building, and I just swam back and forth, and I qualified. I jumped in, and I was like, oh, this is my thing. I finally found what I wanted to do. I came out of there, I was like, oh, I love this. And the other thing that really sort of cemented it for me was I had never seen that many happy people in New York City before. Truly, like, I can distinctly remember looking around and seeing these people, and before the swim, everybody's like, hey, and this is probably early in the season too. So people were like, hey, how are you? What are you doing this year? Like, the vibe was just amazing. And I was like, not only do I like doing this thing, swimming in the water, but I'm like, I want to get to know these people because they look like my people. And so that's how I started swimming.
A friendly group, isn't it?
It is. It's an amazingly friendly group.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great. And you said, what year was that? Like two.
So I did my first swim in 2010, and I was still smoking
A newbie.
back a day. So
That is so cool.
And when did you do your first marathon swim, out of curiosity?
I guess it's kind of a lie, because I was going to say the second year, in 2011, I did Little Red Lighthouse, but that's kind of a cheat. It's a 10K on a really fast current. So my first real marathon was 2014. I swam Ederle, which is 17 miles from the tip of Manhattan to the tip of New Jersey, which is a really cool, it's, you know, you're in the river, you're in the harbor, you're in the ocean. It's kind of a little bit of everything. It's fun.
Let's see, so that's how you back up. What's your favorite place to swim?
That's a hard question. I can't narrow it down to one. I'm always gonna love jumping in the Hudson River. It is beautiful and amazing, and it'll break your heart and it'll make you happy all in the same day. I love swimming in the BVI. I did some swim vacations there, and it's just watching all the fishies. It's gorgeous.
What does that stand for?
Oh, I'm sorry, the British Virgin Islands.
Oh, okay.
Elaine Halley was with me there.
That's when we met.
Yeah, that's where we met. And I recently got a new infatuation. I swam in Tahoe for the first time last summer, and climbing the list really fast. And I'm supposed to go swim there again this summer. So Tahoe was like, it reminds me of swimming in the Caribbean, the clarity, but there's no fish, there's no bottom, and it's just I had a beautiful night. So
yeah, cool.
Those three.
Why do you swim marathons?
Somebody asked me this question after I had like 4 drinks one day at an event, and somebody was interviewing me, and they're like, "Why do you swim marathons?" I'm like, "Because I can." and I'm always like, asking that question. I go back to that moment, and I was like, I'm so amazed. I don't mean this arrogantly, but like, I've never done anything athletic in my life. I was a stoner kid, like, and I got good grades and I worked hard. So this whole thing is still so new to me. And so I kept pushing to see where my happy place, where to stop being happy. And I haven't hit that yet. And I was supposed to do the length of Tahoe this summer, which is not going to happen. I can't make that big a jump without training. But, you know, 9 hours so far is still pretty happy. So I don't know where my end is.
You got to find it, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like what Sarah was saying in that thing that interview she did yesterday. It was like she kept saying, "Oh, well, I did this and I wasn't tired. Maybe I'll try this." And she kept going on in more distance. So,
right. I don't think I'll be getting there. I also have the TikTok part. I'll be 59 this year.
So what?
And I expect that I will do long stuff for maybe 5 more years, but there's a point where I don't think that I'm going to want to swim for 10 hours anymore.
Don't decide that today.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 70 this year in November, and I still want to swim the suck. And I don't know if it'll happen this year without the training that I wanted to do, but I'm next year. If I don't get to do it this year, I want to do it some point soon. And I keep thinking, I'm not getting any younger.
True. And you know, I don't know how many of you know her. There's a woman in New York who swims called Capri. She's sort of
Yeah.
I feel like, you know,
Everybody knows.
everybody knows.
Who doesn't know her?
How what?
I just said, who doesn't know her? You've got to be living under a rock if you don't.
And I never thought I could swim around Manhattan. And so, because it used to just be a fast kid swim. And the guy who used to run Manhattan said to her one day, "I think you can do it. I've got a tide." And Capri's a little bit slower than me. and she makes it around Manhattan. And I was like, oh, I can do that. You know, so, and Capri's, I don't know, a couple years older than me. So it's also watching other people to see, you know, where is this? When does it stop being happy?
Just keep going, right?
Or run out of money,
It's
one
not
of
always-
the two.
Like for me, it's not always like it's some points during a long swim. I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this? And other times I'm like, oh, cool dolphins.
Yeah, exactly.
How about Janine? How do you describe the feeling of completing a marathon swim?
Oh, yeah, I am always happy. I am, and I tend to do more events than solos. Actually, Tahoe last summer was my first like sort of solo thing. So to me, it's the social part too. As for those of you who know Morty or knew Morty, he once said to me, he's like, "You're a social swimmer in a solo sport," and he was very right about that. But I love, you know, I'm like, oh yay, everybody's done, because everybody's already done. I'm like, you have the cocktail for me. And I'm usually a very happy person at the end too. I don't go too negative. Everybody goes negative at some point in your head. And I usually say to myself, this is your happy place. You just spent, you know, 6 months of your life training for this. Like, enjoy the moment. And I'm usually pretty good about pulling it back in. And so, yeah, I'm happy to finish. I'm a little sad too. Although I do find that I always have something else planned. So I know it won't be the last one.
Yeah. Excellent. How about what's your favorite event that you've done?
That's hard. That's another really hard question. I got it narrowed down to two. One of them I agree with Mark Spratt. It is Little Red Lighthouse, or it's a 10K on a fast current in the Hudson. And the reason why is because, A, it's my forever swim. I kind of feel like I can do that swim for a really long time, for many years to come. I can also do it for a long time. I love that it's the place where the big kids, like people who like to go long, show up for it, and people who don't necessarily do super long stuff also show up. So it kind of brings everybody there. It also traditionally ends at a bar, which is also fun. And it's my sentimental, like, to me, the Hudson's my home water. So that would be one. And the other is I like multi-day events. They're sort of fun. And I think
like the 8 Bridges.
You know, I'm not going to give it to 8 Bridges. I'm actually going to, if you ask me my favorite multi-day event so far, I haven't been to SCAR. I was supposed to go this year, so maybe SCAR will make the list. But I'm giving it to Kingdom Week. I love Kingdom Week. I love the vibe of it. I love we're walking through the woods and carrying kayaks and swimming around some little pond with trampolines in the middle of it. And then other days it's like, oh, it's meant for Magog and it's going to slap this snot right out of you because there's a wind and it's coming from all directions. So and the vibe of it is, I'm also lucky. I usually stay with some swimmers for that event too. So everybody gets up in the morning, and once again, the social aspect and everybody's swimming. So it's fun.
Yeah. And Janine, don't forget the fresh corn and the fact that when they talk about chips, they don't mean the ones that go around your ankle.
Yeah.
Right back, guys.
And there's one day that I completely always sort of blow off, and I swim from dock to dock, and I climb up on the docks and I jump off and don't care. I don't know. Snow White has created a special little thing in that weird little corner of America, and it's fun. And you go for ice cream afterwards.
Yep.
Beanies. actually.
Yeah.
Mimis.
Right. It's like swim camp instead of
is.
doing it like a real event. How about forgetting. What's the swim that you're most proud of, Janine?
Stage 1. I hold the longest record for 3 out of the 4 stages I've completed so far. But stage 1 was, so stage 1, for those of you who don't know, is you swim bridge to bridge down the Hudson. And some of the stages are, you know, not easy, but not ridiculous. And other ones are more towards ridiculous. But stage 1, I stopped for a feed about an hour and a half or so before I finished. And I heard on the radio David Barra say, "Oh, I'm coming back to pull me and I think Mary Stella was still out there. I'm coming back to pull Janine and Mary." And my kayaker is this girl, Lizzie Tabor, and you know, like great kayaker, really calm and patient and always smiling at you, even though it's got to be mind-numbingly boring to watch. And she got all bristly. She's like, "They're not pulling you. You're making progress." And I was like, okay. And I'm just going to go back to swimming because there's nothing else you can do, right? And I swam against that current. That was ridiculous. And the heartbreaking part is you have to get to the back side of the bridge. I've asked for this to be changed, but apparently we're not going to change that. And at the end, the current is just ridiculously hard, and it's coming around the stanchions. And I'm up against the bank of the river. And it's like, it's so hard. And you can't stop to feed, you can't stop to look up, you can't stop to see where the bridge is. You just have to. And I finished by, I bet you the last 50 yards took me 20 minutes. It was super hard, but I made it. And so that's the one that tells me that you have a lot more than you think you do.
Yeah, that's wonderful. How do you get through those hard situations?
I chant. That's really what I do. I'm cursing the whole way. It's not out loud. That is my mantra. I'd like to say there's other mantras that I use during the swim, but when you're up against the current and it's only getting harder, I think swimming any stage of 8 bridges is super hard. I think because you need speed, you need endurance, you need to be mentally tough. And I'd say, you know, if you're doing multiple days or the whole thing, you got to be able to recover and get up and do it again in a way that you swim in a lake, like, you know, until you run out of daylight, you got time. Like, you lose to the river when you swim bridges. And I think that's, for somebody who's slow, I love that because it's not a race director or an arbitrary time, or it's me versus the river. Do I get there? Have I trained hard enough? Am I up to this?
Of those stages of the 8 bridges, would you recommend if someone wanted to do that for the first time and just do one stage, which one would you recommend?
I'd say stage 6, it's the easiest. If you look on the frequently asked questions, which I've edited, they rank all the stages against other swims out there too. Stage 6 is traditionally the easiest. That being said, the first year I jumped in to try it, I DNF'd, and I think, which wasn't surprising, but I think the only person who finished that year was Andrew Malinak. And I made it 12 out of the 15 miles. I made it to the Harlem River, and I was a happy girl. I was like, I just swam 12 miles. I have never swam 12 miles in my life. I'm done, called for the pickup, and but traditionally stage 6 is kind.
So Yeah, I've been thinking about that. It's a pretty expensive swim, but I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you a process or an outcome person, Janine?
Oh, that's I don't, it's an interesting question. I love the training. I don't think you do this unless you love doing the training too, because you'd never make it through it. But when your heart's broken and you DNF something you thought you were going to do, it kind of says, oh, maybe you really are an outcome person. I don't know yet. I'm still, I'm still pretty new at doing all this. Would I still jump in knowing that I wasn't going to finish? The answer is yes. So in that aspect, I guess I'm a process person.
It's about the water, not the land.
It's about all the great medals I win. That sort of cracks me up. That part of sometimes where people are like, I want the medal. And I'm always like, what do you do with all these medals? Like, I don't want the medal.
They're sitting
I'm
in
not big on
dust at my house.
You're what?
They're sitting in a box and covered in dust at the moment someplace.
One of my friends has them hanging on his shower head, and I thought that was the best place I've ever seen them. He's like, yeah, it inspires me in the morning when I'm like, and I was like, oh, okay.
That could work.
And it's not out in the
what to do
public.
with mine.
Maybe Christmas tree ornaments.
What was that?
I was just that. That was a good answer.
Me, Christmas tree ornaments.
Yeah,
I like that.
good one, David.
You'll need a strong tree though, Janine.
So Janine, how do you adapt to changing conditions?
I love changing conditions. I don't like, to me, the worst swim I ever had was a 10-miler in Memphis-Magog that stayed flat the whole day. I was bored. I'd never had that experience before. So one of the swims that I think is super fun is Lido Key. For those of you who haven't done it, because part of it's usually calm, part of it's usually smacky, part of it's got you're like flying with the current, and I love the diversity of a swim. In New York Harbor, there's a little island called Governor's Island. It's a 2-mile swim around, but like same thing. It's got, I like a sampler. I want to take I want to taste everything in a swim.
I met you at Governor's Island.
Who said that?
Mark. 2013. That was the day from hell.
I love that swim. That's a swim that's probably, it's one of the few swims under 5 miles that I would do it anymore, because they're just too short to make it. But there's something about that swim, I don't know.
Morty was still struggling with the post-Sandy problems that day.
Right. Yeah.
And it was 95 degrees.
I don't know. I so everybody sits around in the grass afterwards, and it's sort of nice, and I don't know. There's a couple of those little swims that are still fun. If somebody's put back on the one that went around Statue of Liberty, I go back and do that one again too.
Yeah.
I was surprised you didn't mention Two Bridges.
So for those of you who don't know it, there's a place in the Hudson that has 2 bridges that are a mile apart or so. That one's a pedestrian bridge, and I call it the Suck It Up Buttercup swim, because it's always the end of May. It's usually stupidly cold, and the air is cold, and it's not bad if you're a fast swimmer. You get through that first loop and you're okay on the second loop. You're fighting the current a little bit, but it's horrendous on slow swimmers. The year I swam around Manhattan, 6 weeks earlier, I had DNF'd this 5K.
Oh.
So it's like, and I love it because it's at the beginning of the season and it always reminds you you're not all that. You may think you're all that. You just spent 6 months training in the pool and you got your clock down and you jump in and you're like, oh, also ends at a bar. So I keep showing up.
Oh, that's awesome. What's the worst part of a lockdown, quarantine, shelter in place, whatever it is for you?
Swimming alone. It is. I miss swimming with people. I go out to this little lake and there may or may not be another swimmer there. Hello, little person. And so, yeah, I miss, and I guess having all the events canceled, although I just found one down here in the beginning of June that hasn't canceled yet. So
yay.
May have to jump in.
What, does that sound like somebody was trying to say something? Did someone have a question for Janine? Nope, okay. What motivates you to keep going, Janine?
I said this, so I love to crew. It's the other thing. And for those of you who have never crewed, I don't think that's true for maybe anyone on this, but I love to crew. If I can't swim, I want to be on crew. And I was crewing somebody who was swimming the length of Lake George.
I think I met you then.
Huh?
I think I met you then at Mossy Point.
Oh, yes, I think I did. See?
For Janet.
No, I did not crew Janet.
Oh, must have been another one. Sorry.
Maybe Lynn. And the person was like 2 miles, and they're like, oh, you know, you're lying to me. And because you can't see the end of that swim, it kind of comes around a corner. And she's like, I need some inspiration. I said, because you don't want to have to come back and do it again next year because you didn't finish it this year. And she's like, oh, and off she went. And I was like, that's what keeps you going, because you're like, I don't want to come back and do this one again next year. I got this list of other ones I want to do. And so that's what keeps, some days, that's what keeps you going.
I love that. What advice would you give to an aspiring marathon swimmer? Crew, that's a good one. Yeah.
Crew, observed. I am telling you that I don't know that I probably would have found it, but I had the amazing good fortune of the first person I ever crewed was Ederle for, oh my God, Eileen Burke. And she's since passed away, but she was this amazing spirit. And that year they swam from New Jersey to New York. And so, so you have all this time on the boat as you're going out. And she's like, oh, she's like, you're new, yeah, ask me anything. And I'm like, really? Because I have like a really long, she's like, yeah. I'm like, so I asked her all these questions. She was great. She jumps in, she starts swimming. Her husband is her crew. I'm her observer. And her husband says to me, watch this. Every time I stop her, she's going to be like, really, already? And every time he stopped her to feed her, she's like, really, already? And the pure joy of that she had for doing this was amazing. I mean, I cried when she finished. Right? And I was like, so I think that I have learned more about it. I've learned how, you know, I've observed people who DNF'd and how they took that with grace and still got joy out of it. I've learned what to eat, what not to eat. Who do you want on your boat? Who you not want on your boat? Like, I learned a lot about the.
Who do you want and not want on your boat? Who do you want and not want?
Who do you not want on your boat? You don't want anybody who's going to cause drama. So you need somebody who's much more of a team player versus I got to be right. Because you get one or two of those people and all of a sudden, as you're swimming, each breath, you can see this happening. You don't want that. You want people you trust. Like I always say to people that who I'm crewing for, and I say to that in the reverse is, my job is not to make sure that you can finish your swim today. My job is to make sure you can swim tomorrow. That's what my job is, as your observer or as your crew, whatever. My job is to make sure you're okay at the end of the day, because this is just a swim. So you want that person. I want people to look happy, but I don't want a lot of like, you can do it. Like, yeah. I don't want a lot of rah-rah. That's me. I need like calm and happy, but not cheerleading.
Interesting.
And somebody I trust. I say to somebody who's crewing or observing, I'm like, I trust you. And if you decide to call it for any reason, I will never be angry. You are doing this because you think it's the right thing to do, and I'm okay with that. I'm giving you this decision. And I think that, so I do. I think crewing and observing is probably the best thing you can do when you're starting out. And I even still to this day, like, I still learn. I was out in Hawaii this last year with Eric Shaw and Steve Grunwald. I learned a whole lot more about crewing that I didn't know. What does that mean in the middle of the ocean? What does that mean when you're trying to throw, training to throw bottles in big waves and not clunk your swimmer? Like it's always something new.
Yeah, that's great
So
advice.
now when you first start to crew, you maybe have first start by assisting, watching, and so forth, and then actually move into a more leadership position.
Yeah, observing actually is where I started before I started crewing. I observed. And at least in New York, and I know on the West Coast they do it too, they put you through a training class. And it's a little less crazy to observe in New York because you're closer to hospitals being on the water than you would be in the middle of the city. So it's a little less crazy than trying to say observe Catalina, where you're out in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of the night. So there's plenty of opportunities to and that was the other, getting back to like coming out of my first swim, and I was like, I want to meet these people. They're all so happy. I started, after that, I volunteered for everything. I did swimmer check-in and I still will do it because I get to see everybody. And that was how I met a lot of different people, different swimmers.
I think that's how I met you.
Who was that?
Yeah, it's Diane. I think
I was like, I didn't know. That's
I
possible.
met you in New York at that ocean swim. I can't remember which one it was. It was in Coney Island.
Yeah, Coney Island. We were lucky in New York when I first started swimming that there was multiple events that you could kind of climb the food chain, that you could work your way up through. I think it's a little harder now.
Don't be put off by that.
No.
Well, for the last question, Janine, who should we have as a future guest? It's been lovely getting your perspective.
I couldn't come up with one answer here. So I decided there were people that I sort of peripherally knew, but didn't really know. And he's not on today. The other Chris. Because he swam Manhattan. So the year I swam Manhattan, I was like, is before the marathon swimmer database, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I wonder how many people have done this. So I download all the data, and then I realized that there's people who have swam it multiple times. I had to dedupe the list. And I came across him, and he swam it, I don't know, like 20 some times. And I was like,
23.
Thank you. And I was like, why? How? You're in Nebraska. So that's one.
Right?
Elizabeth Almond.
Yeah.
John Gale, the Revolvers. If we could get the girls on, maybe. Martha Woods and Rainey Pierce. Those are my... They're like people I sort of know, but not really.
All right. Got it. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This was great.
Bye.
All right, we'll see you. See you on Tuesday.
Nice talking with you all.